It go off, it go off.
Now, folks, if you'll just gather around a little closer now. Come right in a little closer. That's it. That's fine, folks.
Pink and orange, Sonny Edwards in the green.
In the neon green, if you notice, he's emphasizing the war in Edwards. Beautiful.
And you can see early on, massive reach advantage for Bam Rodriguez. 7-inch reach advantage coming into this fight. They want him using that jab early and often.
7-inch reach advantage. Sonny complained about the southpaw jab being a little low to the referee. Dalton Smith's old man who trained Sonny and Dalton, he informed the referee that many of the shots, the jab strayed low. Some did stray low, some were borderline. I think the bigger issue Sonny had, more than the shots being low, was Bam was able to throw a lot of them jabs and even the left hand to the body from so far out because of that reach advantage. Sonny's never had to encounter that. Sonny is an intelligent fighter, and this fight here, he worked out early. He couldn't stay on the outside unless he just wanted to be defensive and make no attempt to win. And he kind of impressed me with his left hand, his left hook, and his own straight left in the pocket. I didn't think he could do that kind of thing. I didn't see any notable head clashes, but Sonny's left eye was knotting up already. I'm going to assume the jab had a lot to do with that, and there could have been some head clashes in there. Bam was the aggressor, and that continued in the third. Bam made some mistakes, like when he neglected his jab. It looked almost like he was impatient to get at Sonny. And he tasted some good hooks, some good power. Like when Sonny stands his ground, he can actually hit. There was one example where Bam just walked in without using his jab, and Sonny lit him up with that right hand, and Bam ate it, but he took a couple of steps back. You know what I mean? Don't want to take too many of them. There was an almost dismissive swag that Bam had, sticking his tongue out at Sonny. I haven't seen that before. I think Sonny really motivated Bam for this fight, where in his previous two contests, you could argue he wasn't sufficiently motivated and he looked flat. He could also have been still from having so many camps. The jab is giving Sonny a lot of issues. Even though he's coming back with his shots, he's having to be way more aggressive than I'm accustomed to seeing. And already, this is the best Sonny Edwards fight I've seen already, and we're barely 3 rounds in. Sonny landed a left hook in the fourth, and then he pulled Bam to the floor. The commentary team, consisting of Sergio Mora and whoever else was there, they were asking, well, the left hand went in before. Somebody responded, so what are you saying? You're saying it's a knockdown and they didn't quite commit. Very productive round for Sonny, and kind of like he was mastering the pocket in that round there. And Bam was feeling some of the pace of them shots and needed to get back to the jab ASAP. I like the move Sonny did in the fourth, where he was in the orthodox stance and he switched, and as he switched, he brought the left hand over the top and landed it as well. The fifth, the commentary team, I've worked it out now, I didn't have to look it up. It's Sergio Mora, Chris Mannix, and of course Barry Jones, who seems to work everywhere. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing, he's actually a good commentator. Somebody pointed out that Bam no longer has any respect for Sonny's power, and that seemed to be very effective for Bam. I'm not saying he walked through the punches, but he was way more assertive, thumping out that jab. And Sonny made it a very competitive round, hard round to score, but I think Bam won it. And it could be a breakthrough Well, I know the result. I'm saying it could be a breakthrough. I know the result, but you know, I watched it yesterday, but I was half asleep. So watching it again today, that 5th round looks like the turning point where Bam is really going to try and put the Titanic on Sonny and sink the ship. But Sonny's still not out of it.
When you pressure him, don't go first. Hands up high, hands up, move your head side to side, and let him throw, and then you come back, right?
When you pressure him, don't throw first. Let him throw, keep your hands up, move side to side, and then come back. That's because when Bam has been leading off, without the jab, obviously, you know what I mean? Like, when he's been leading off, he's getting countered nearly all the time. So, that's what Robert Garcia told Bam. Coming out for the 6th. Bam. High guard. Tight. Tight, tight, tight. Sonny threw a few shots. One jab went in, and Bam smothered the other shots that were thrown. When Bam blocked the left jab, came back with his own left. He listened to his coach. Came back with his own left. Sharp left. And it rocked Sonny back into the ropes. And this was a taxing round where Bam done the great body work, and Sonny came up with some very good headshots. But you could see the toll it was taking on Sonny more than Bam. Bam was in his element, you know what I mean? Like, Bam was showboating, like dropping his hands and, yo, come and bring it. And when he dropped his hands, Sonny landed a shot. But Bam was in the ascendancy. He was hurting Sonny towards the end of the round before the showboating. Sonny would have probably beat the majority of flyweights out there today. But Bam, you know, right, done damage to what looks like the left orbital of Sonny's face. It's reddening and swelling. There's a cut over the top of that eye, and there's a cut over the other eye as well. The injuries are exacerbated in the 7th. The Sonny takes a beating, takes a really good beating. Like, there was one left hook that hurt Sonny. He came back with some shots that made Bam have to reset and hold on a little, but Bam was punishing Sonny. He was punishing him. Like, in between rounds, Dalton Smith and Grant Smith, Dalton's old man, they were imploring Sonny to use his feet and don't stand in there and have a war with Bam. But Sonny had no other option now. It was uncharacteristic when Sonny threw a lead left hook and there was nobody there. Like, who was he aiming that at? But Bam, his arms are so long that, you know, he just pecks the fucking jab out there from yards out and doesn't have to put much effort into it, and it's landing and it's giving Sonny all types of issues. That and the body attack. And Sonny's face is a bloody mess. I thought they could have pulled him out in the 8th. Bam was using a forearm, pushing him off, and then just battering him with these uppercuts and hooks. Sonny rallied towards the end of the round, but it's a lost cause now. And, you know, it looked like the type of round that takes years off the fighter. That type of round. Gallo! Juan Francisco Estrada is in attendance. You know what that means, people. The winner fights him. When Estrada's in the house.
Oh my God.
Always a good fight. Sonny was in survival mode by the 9th. And I have to question what Grant Smith is playing at, sending him out for the 9th. I really do. And I'm old school with my stoppages. I'm on that Steve Smoker program, but I would have pulled him out. Let him fight another day. The 9th, it started a little quieter. Sonny on the move. Bam stalking. Like, Bam started opening up, and like Sonny was in all sorts of issues, man. I don't know if he spat the gum shield or if it was knocked out, but Bam was sensing the end. And, you know, Sonny was landing shots, but he couldn't do no damage, like no facial damage to Bam at all. You know what I mean? He couldn't hurt him bad enough. He couldn't deter Bam from coming straight back at him after catching his shots. But Bam done all sorts of damage to Sonny. All sorts. Sonny, he went to throw a left and got countered by Bam's left, and it sent him sprawling to the canvas for the first time in his career. It's a good thing the round ended as he got up from the knockdown. I know they got towels in Sheffield because Dominic Ingle threw one in for Kell Brook when he was taking that beating from Triple G. And finally, Grant Smith pulled him out. I don't know what they were waiting for. There shouldn't have been a 9th round. There really shouldn't have been. The 8th round shouldn't have finished. And Bam, he fell to the canvas in elation. Unified champion. Sonny was humbled. Bam said he's going to give up the belts. So it looks like a move up to Superfly is imminent. One Francisco Estrada, depending what he's got left in the tank, is a very tough fight for Bam. Very tough fight. What about Sonny? Does he move up? Will he stay at 112? Possibly fight Galal Fire. There's still fights out there for Sonny. Curtis Woodhouse, former British light welterweight champion, he said that Sonny quit like a dog, but they've been going back and forth. They've got a little something between them. A few people have used the Q word. I'm not going to rationalize what constitutes a quit or what doesn't, because basically if you wave surrender, you wave surrender. It doesn't really matter in this circumstance if he quit or not. He was getting terrorized in there. Bam was way up on the cards, I'm going to assume. I didn't score it round by round by round per se, because sometimes I score fights like, you know what I mean, like get pen and paper out. But scoring fights for judges is work. It's not like they got a cold beer and some snacks. No, they're scoring the fight. It's work. And as a consumer, sometimes it gets a bit tedious scoring fights. Sometimes it's cool, but sometimes I just want to watch, and by the end of the fight, I'll have my summary of the overall picture. Well, there's a lot on the horizon for Bam. Let's just say that. He was definitely rejuvenated. You could see that when he was doing the gorilla swing with his arms before the fight started. Like, he was on it tonight. This was his night. Still don't get why the Ring Magazine didn't make this for the Ring Magazine belt. Still don't understand that. Excellent fight. Great performance by Bam. Great performance by Sonny, actually. Let's see what Sonny's got left in the tank. A lot of people are getting all emotional in their feelings about Curtis Woodhouse comments, but look, I want to separate what they got between them in terms of beef and just focus on what Curtis said. Okay, quit like a dog doesn't sound nice, but did he quit? Yes, he did quit. He did quit because his coach, Grant Smith, forced him to quit by not pulling him out in the 8th. When he got back to the corner, he should have pulled him out. He should have waved it off before Sonny got to say anything. That's what he should have done. Or threw the towel in. Either during the 8th or as soon as the round finished. No, that's it. We've seen enough. But the facts are, Sonny didn't want to go back out there. He didn't protest. He even said himself, I'm sorry I couldn't finish all the way through, to his fans. And he was heroic in the fight, if he's truthful about suffering the orbital bone medial fracture from the second. He was heroic, but we can't, well, you can, a lot of people are, but I'm just using clinical language, you know what I mean? Like, they're saying Billy Joe Saunders didn't want to fight no more. Well, neither did Sonny. Neither did Sonny. I see a lot of people going to a whole lot of convoluted theories of why it wasn't a quit, but that's because they're endeared by Sonny himself or by his performance, and they can't stand to hear what Curtis Woodhouse is saying. And I get that. I get that. Quit like a dog after watching a fight like that. It doesn't feel good, does it? It doesn't feel good. You know, they say AJ quit against Andy Ruiz, but he protested to the referee. He did, but he had the fight punched out of him. And Sonny had the fight punched out of him too. AJ protested like, what? Sonny didn't do that. You know, if I was going to argue for Sonny, I would just argue more for the whole standard of what a quit is. You get the fight punched out of you. What are you supposed to do? You know? But Sonny wasn't concussed on the floor and the referee had to wave it off. No, he made a conscious decision not to face the ring and face Bam. He didn't want no static with Grant Smith. Okay, Grant, you say it's over, it's over. So what is that then?
Do you know what it is with Daniel? I think it's quite obvious that he will give as best of a go as he can every time he gets in there. And the moment it all starts unraveling and he's getting hurt too much, then yeah, he'll look for a way out. But that's his right. That's what he trains and has worked all his life for. Like, it's not.
Gotcha. That's what Sonny did. Exactly what he accused Daniel of is what he did. When he was getting hurt too much, he was looking for a way out. When his coach gave him a way out, he gladly took it. There was no protest. Simple as that. But I won't make a big deal out of it. I enjoyed the fight. It was well worth my subscription purchase. If he can put on more fights like that, I don't give a shit if he loses or wins. I'll watch. This is Sonny's own words. At the end of the 8th, he wanted to stop it. That's Grant Smith. Sonny said he was shocked. He said it wasn't that hard. Grant said he can't see what his face looks like. But then by the end of the 9th, this is what Sonny said. Decided that I'm going to go out and try and make something happen. that got me caught by the end. Told him the truth. I couldn't see him properly. And then Grant Smith waved it off. That's Sonny's own account. If you tell your cornerman that you can't see properly, he's more than likely going to wave the fight off. Whether people like it or not, he's instructing Grant to stop the fight. Like, we've heard stories of fighters, you know, who lie to their coach, you know, I'm okay, I can see out the eye, I want to carry on. You know, I know people don't want to hear it. I enjoy the fight, you enjoy the fight. We don't want to attribute anything negative to Sonny's performance. But it's not negative. It's the clinical definition of what he did. That's all it is.
Bite what I might get, then up and say I quit.
But you'd be surprised what, I guess you could say, useless information you retain. Like, I watched Akhmadaliev TKO Kevin Gonzalez, who was unbeaten, 26-0 on one draw. Kevin was running all around the ring when the fight was stopped, like a little kid on too much sugar. And did Kevin go into a press-up routine? It reminded me of Manfred Jasmin, a tough German cruiserweight / heavyweight, when he was stopped by Derek Angle in his very last fight. And I remember them stopping it in the 8th, and Manfred going into his impressive press-up routine to suggest he was fine to carry on. And he was probably fine to carry on, but he was soundly getting outpointed, wasn't he? And that's what Kevin Gonzalez was doing. It was rather bizarre, but, you know, Akhmadaliev won his eliminator. Is anyone not really impressed by Galal Yafai's performances? He won a 10-rounder against Rocco Santomaro, and I don't think he's ready for Sonny Edwards yet, although he could be tough enough to make it competitive. What about Peter McGrail against Jericho Quinn? McGrail, the Scouse Lomachenko, you know, got caught in the 5th round and knocked out. And he was outboxing Jericho, had him down twice. Had Quinn down twice in the 2nd and 4th and got knocked out himself. Unbeaten record gone. Quinn is now 17-1-1. So that's one apiece. UK versus US. Junaid Boston, he went into the ring 7-0 with 6 inside the distance. This is at light middle. He took on Gordy Russ too, who was 6-0 with 6 inside the distance. Big up the UK, but let's face it, you go into a man's backyard and get a decision like that. He was pretty fortunate. In all truth, they should run that one back. I didn't score it, punch for punch, round for round, but it looked pretty close, and you know, I'd have a good case that Gordy could have stole that, but I'd have to score it round for round. 2-1 UK. Joe McGrail, he went to 8-0. Stopping Edgar Ortiz with a body attack in the 2nd. 3-1 UK. And obviously, Sonny versus Bam. 3-2 UK. Very good matchmaking by Matchroom. Putting the British boys in with the Americans. You could see the Americans were very motivated. And Jericho Quinn, after seeing Gordy Russ come up short, he mentioned that they robbed Gordy Russ, his boy, and he looked very motivated, like he never gave up against Peter McGrail. In the press conference, there was back and forth between Gordy Russ and Junaid Boston. They were very motivated. The American boys didn't want to lose to the Brits, and vice versa. We need more of that, Matchroom. We need more of that. Creative matchmaking. A lot of people are preoccupied with IBF, eliminators, and belts and shit like that. Boxing, for the most part, should be about competitive matches. Yeah? And somehow we need to get out of this. You need to keep your 0 at all costs before 50-50 matchmaking. 2007 it was. On ITV, they had that Contender Challenge, UK versus USA, at the Metro Arena in the Northeast. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Barry McGuigan. They aborted that way too early. And even when ITV stopped fucking with boxing and we didn't get that Contender UK versus USA challenge, someone else should have took it up. Someone else should have took that up. It was good stuff. There's the American team there. There's a young Sugar Hill. Before everyone really knew what he was about, there's K9 Bundridge, Sugar Ray Leonard, Peter Manfredo, Jesse Brinkley, and the rest. Yeah, bring it back. Promoted by Frank Warren and Sugar Ray Leonard. 8-round fights. And the whole challenge finished on one card, one night. And they were well-matched fights. Robbie Reed versus Jesse Brinkley. Colin McNeil versus K9 Bundridge. Anthony Small versus Walter Wright. I remember Anthony holding on in the 8th final round. Holding on for dear life. Paul Smith versus Jonathan Reed. Ross Minter versus Freddie Curio. Freddie was behind on points and he scored that stoppage against Alan Minter's son, Ross Minter. Nigel Wright versus Jonathan Nelson. Martin Concepcion, the British fighter, against Alfonso Gomez. Paul Buchanan versus Gerson Ravello. Remember Ravello? Smooth boxing skills, never really fulfilled his potential, of frustration to a lot of critics. Did Jim Gray get a little teary-eyed, kind of like Jim Lampley did on HBO when they went out of business? Well, good riddance. Yeah, well, last broadcast, Chris Colbert, cocky, talks a lot, has a certain level of ability at a certain level of competition. But the robust guys, he can't handle them. He was lucky to get that first verdict against Valenzuela. Valenzuela, a lot of low shots. He didn't care where they landed. This time around, he made sure he got the job done. Knocked down Chris in the first. Chris came back with some flurries, fast-handed flurries. And in the 6th round, that right hook, there was a picture of Chris lying on the canvas, knocked out, and his coach was just looking at Chris like, Lord. Valenzuela, he's dangerous. His other loss was to Edwin De Los Santos, who knocked him out, put himself right back in the title picture. And David Morrell stopped, was it the Ghanaian Agbeko into no competition at all. And you have to wonder why the WBA persists with these secondary titles, you know, and why the PBC are so glad to showcase these secondary title fights when they don't need to. You know, like, with a record of 10-0, 9 inside the distance, and David is talented, but should he really be, you know, be parading around as a champion? A champion of what? Anyway, good riddance to Showtime and the PBC, and let's bring on the debacle that's sure to follow with the PBC and Amazon Prime. It's partly as much the sanctioning bodies as the PBC, but the PBC are just too willing to oblige their fighters with this nonsense. Like the whole Leo Santa Cruz, Lee Wood situation with the WBA featherweight title. We're probably going back to 2018 or 19 or something like that, when Leo last defended or fought for that strap he had, and he wouldn't relinquish it. The PBC wouldn't advise him to relinquish it. Eventually the WBA freed up the belt, and then Lee Wood took ownership. On Twitter, like, Tank Davis PBC fans are trying to go back and forth with me, talking about Rowley and Ryan as these standout names that make Tank the face of boxing. Tank's never unified a strap at 135. He's had good lightweights in the weight class while he's been fighting there, whether it's Haney, Teo, or Loma, and he hasn't fought one of them. It's just not good enough, you know? He put a rehydration clause on Ryan. He even put a rehydration on Barrios. Like, how do you put rehydration clauses on what to me are just above average fighters? I'm talking about Ryan, just above average, and Barrios, just above average. You're putting rehydration clauses on somebody for a baby belt at 140 when there was an undisputed champion there. Josh Taylor, but he wouldn't fight Josh Taylor. He wouldn't fight Haney when he was undisputed champion at 135. Rolly Romero, I'm going to quit boxing and do OnlyFans. He's going to quit boxing and just get his DIC case sucked all day. This is you just got off some allegations of SA. And look how he's talking in public. Is he really that stupid? Just hasn't learned no lessons at all. You know, scraped past old face killer for the belt. Now he's holding it hostage, saying he's going to retire. Some fake injury. I believe the injury's fake. Now O'Hara Davis has to fight for an interim belt against old face killer, just littering up the place with belts and watering down world title fights for no reason, because he won't fight O'Hara. It's a joke. Charlo came back, catchweight fight against an opponent who certainly isn't a proven middleweight. Certainly not. 163 is what Charlo had to make. He came in at 166, went back away to lose the weight, and came back even heavier. But the WBC still let him keep that WBC belt for over 2 years, while Carlos Adames' career just stagnating, procrastinating over what? It's not fair.
Walk me through that entire scenario, how frustrating it's been, and what communication you've had with IBF since.
It is what it is, man. You know, they pretty much forced me to do what I've done. So we're moving forward, prepared to fight on one of the biggest boxing cards in history, and we're a part of it. So it's all positive, and we're here to get a job done. I'm just excited to get back in the ring. You know what I mean? This is what I do, and I'm here to prove once again I'm the best cruiserweight.
You know, I don't give Elvis Zorro much of a chance against Jai, but it's not a nice thing to take into that fight, having to drop the belt that you've worked so hard for. But no excuses, you know, he's got to perform. He's got to perform under the Saudi Arabian lights. The show goes on. I have no idea when the IBF plan to stage this vacant IBF cruiserweight title now, but it's not going to be this year. I don't think it's going to be January. Jai said he'll be ready to fight Bradis next year. That's what he said. Bradis wasn't ready to fight in December, you know. And look, if they're saying Elvis not an appropriate opponent because he isn't ranked, that's fair enough. Well, just withdraw your recognition for this fight, but let him keep his belt. He can fight a non-title fight and keep his belt.
You go on.